Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sulk stream. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are keeping it together. Things can be stressful. I understand. Life can be hard. I understand. Shit doesn't go your way, and I understand. But you guys are here. I'm here. We're going to make the best of it. Right? Did you decide to be born in this life? Did I have no idea. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's a reason. But maybe there's not. I don't believe that, though. I think there's a good reason for our suffering. Background noise. Work sucks for a reason. What that reason is, I'm not sure yet. But we'll figure it out. You and me, brother. You and me. We're gonna get through it. Tonight we're talking about Reddit mods. The lowly creatures that inhabit the forums, that lurk and destroy any sort of free speech that may have existed on Reddit in the long ago. I know that's not the case now. Reddit is just it's a political board. The whole thing is a political board, and I don't think anybody on there is real. I mean, it must be 90% bots at least, and I know that's the case for most of the internet. But it's bad over there. It's bad. They kicked me off Reddit years ago, right? So I got kicked off. They banned my account. I didn't bother making a new account because it was lame. It was lame, dude. And I didn't enjoy it as much as I do Twitter. I can say a lot more, even though I am restricted in certain ways. And yeah, I wish that we didn't have to be restricted. I wish we didn't have to be censored. But who says we have to be? Large corporations, the government, Israel, China, maybe. I don't know. Probably a combination of all of them. People, banksters, people in control of the world. There is people out there that are in control of the world. You don't know who they are. They exist, though. And they control your daily movements. And they designed your life. It sucks. You shouldn't be this poor. You shouldn't. It should not be this hard. We have all the technology in the world. Easily, we could feed us all, house us, most of us. But people clamp down and make fake money and then demand you to work or they'll starve you to death. Why? Why do they get that opportunity? Why do they have that power? A lot of reasons. A lost war. I'm not going to say which. It doesn't matter. We're here, and we're here to be happy. And I hope you guys are happy. Welcome to the Sulk stream, where happiness is our goal. Is it? It doesn't matter. Anyways, guys, thanks for coming. I hope you're doing great. Making your cult leader proud. Doing the most. Making the most of yourselves. Staying healthy. Trying to make it through life. Anyways, get comfy. Get cozy. Get a bottle of whatever you need to get. Whatever it is. Bleach? I don't care. No, don't jump the gun. We have plans. We have plans. Anyways, if you're driving, keep driving. If you're working, I don't know why you just do whatever you need to do, man. Just do whatever you need to do. Anyways, I'm the Incredible Sulk. This is the Sulk stream, and this is called "Why Do Reddit Mods Always Look Like That?" That's an excellent question. Enjoy.
Why do they always look the same? You know what I mean? They all have that look. Scruffy, passive-aggressive, balding, short-sighted, condescending, virtue-signaling, sometimes overweight, toothy grins, social lepers. Or
sometimes overweight? They're usually pretty overweight. They're usually pretty... I mean, right? The thing about Reddit mods is you don't see them. And you don't know if they're actually people. They might be robots and stuff like that. Where do you see Reddit mods? Do they post pictures of themselves? This guy is not a Reddit mod, is he? He is just the pinnacle of the incel. It's what people think of when they think of incels, which is sad that that's even like a movement these days. That people are so sex crazed, it's like starved for sex that, you know, there's a term for people who just cannot get laid no matter what. It's standards. I mean, obviously people are allowed to have standards. But yeah, this guy probably ain't getting too much.
In other words, Reddit moderators.
Background.
The people who moderate
Scott.
subreddits. Subreddits are the front page of the internet. I mean, Reddit as a whole has now become the 11th most
Drain
visited
cleaner
site
and Coke,
globally.
says JD.
And the people in charge of
That's a stiff drink. It'll clear you out.
Reddit is a powerful clique of Reddit mods and admins. I mean, in 2020, it was...
Okay, is it clique or is it click? How do you pronounce that word? Clique? C-L-I-Q-U-E. Right? I say click, right? Because I don't need to make everything so fancy. Like, Canadians put a U in the word color. Do they say color? Color? It's unnecessary. Click, right? It's click. Can we just agree that it's click? All right? Clique? That's a cool clique. Don't say clique to me.
Revealed that just 6 of these Reddit mods control 118 of the top 500 subreddits. These are the people who determine what posts...
Jake Rickham's drinking gin and Pepsi. That's not a combination I would expect somebody to drink. Gin and Pepsi is what you drink when all you have is gin and Pepsi and you need a drink. That's what that is, right? No one goes like to a bar and says, you know, I really need a gin and a Pepsi. A gin and Pepsi, please. Make it a double. They'd be like, what? I mean, a rum and Coke is fine. A rum and Pepsi is fine. Rum and Cokes are they're really sweet and sugar. That's too much. But gin and Pepsi, they just seem like they clash. I've had it. I've had that. But the exact situation was I have gin and the only thing I have is Pepsi. So I'm going to drink gin and Pepsi. You do you, Dick Rickham.
Allowed, what comments you can type, what posts are deleted, and what opinions can flourish. It's literally gotten to a point now where mods are deleting 6%.
Hit the like button. You gin and Pepsi drinking weirdos.
Of all Reddit posts, with most of these deleted posts being things that go against the beliefs of mods. And if you don't like the mod's actions, you will be banished to the digital gulag. Effective.
That's what happened to me. I had an account for a few years. And I had a number of karma on Reddit. And they just straight up banned me. They're all like, because I made a tranny joke. Oh, I'm so sorry I made a tranny joke. Well, it wasn't the only joke. I made a lot of jokes. I got banned or suspended like 5 or 6 times before they finally banned me. I'm not saying I didn't deserve it. I didn't deserve it. What was I doing? I wasn't calling for to kill people or anything like that. I was just making jokes. The one that finally broke it, I was like, it was a Rorschach test. And I said it looked like 2 trannies lifting a duffel bag. And it did, dude. It looked exactly like that. And they were like, that's too much. That's I don't like that at all. It had boobs and wieners. Okay. And they were lifting up a duffel bag. They were people. I mean, it's a Rorschach test, so maybe it's what I saw. But I doubt anybody else saw anything else. Seriously, dude, that was clearly 2 dudes with boob jobs lifting up a duffel bag. That was very clear. And anybody else who saw that would have said the exact same thing.
Actively granting these Reddit mods the control of
Easily.
information, but it doesn't stop
Easily.
there, because Reddit mods are no longer just controlling subreddits, they're now running the most powerful companies in the world.
No, I mean, like, the mods of Reddit. Okay, so, like, the most powerful companies of the world pay the mods of Reddit to change the conversation, to delete consenting opinions and stuff, and to push narratives, right? And also advertise on their behalf, but in a way that's subliminal and not overt. So it's the other way around. The most powerful companies on the planet control Reddit, and they pay these mods very handsomely. Some of them, not all of them. But there's only like 6 mods, dude. There's like 6 mods who basically control the entirety of Reddit. And so how do you have a diversity of opinion when you have like 6 big fat dudes who are destroying everyone else's opinions? They used to have good subreddits. There was one called Brat Barn where it was people would post pictures of fat chicks, and then they would LARP or pretend that they were fart farmers. They would farm farts, and they would be like, oh, this is my aboriginal milking sow, and I feed her bush meat and beer, and her farts give my skin acid burns. That was a funny subreddit, but it got banned because it was sexist or offensive or something like that. But if you piss on white men or straight people or like nuclear families or anything like that, it's good to go. It's good to go, right? So it's obviously really one-sided. It's very clearly one-sided. And the only people who don't think it's one-sided are fucking retarded. And they're usually not very good looking. I've seen that. I've seen that a lot. You meet some person out in the wild and he talks about Reddit and stuff like that. And then you look him up and down. And then you're like, yeah, that checks out. That checks out.
Reddit, Facebook, YouTube, these people are programming our culture and society. Their actions shape our minds. They are inadvertent.
Dick Rickham says gin and Pepsi when you've been drunk for 2 weeks straight. Have you been drunk for 2 weeks straight? Are you Virgie? Is this Virgie's alt account? Are you Virgie? Virgie? Are you? Is that you? Dude. Party on. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. 2 weeks straight, though. I mean, that's a lot of alcohol. It's a lot of Pepsi. Do they still do points? Do you still get Pepsi points? That's not a thing anymore, is it? You used to be able to buy all kinds of cool stuff, like a Pepsi jacket. And somebody's out there today, wearing that sweet pleather Pepsi jacket that they bought with Pepsi points years and years ago, and that's just the look they rep. And I salute that person. I hope he's having a great day. I hope he's getting laid, you know. I hope he's not fighting with the Coca-Cola crew or anything like that. You know, it's like the Bloods versus the Crips, only in soda form. Soda wars.
Responsible for many of the political and social trends we see today. And yet the weirdest part of all of this is that these Reddit mods all share that same look. A look that transcends genders and even...
Background says you got banned by a person that wanted to be deer? Like the horned creature deer? It was out of your control? It was out of my control. Because I wasn't going to stop making jokes. I've tried a lot to stop making jokes and like be more serious about the reality. This is a serious situation, and it's a coping mechanism. Okay, that's what it is. My sense of humor is a coping mechanism, and that's because I haven't learned to develop any other sort of coping mechanisms in my life. So now I make jokes because fuck it, fuck it all. It all kind of sucks. So why not at least get a laugh out of it? What else are you going to do?
Age groups. Could it just be that terminally online weirdos are generally apathetic about their physical appearance? Or is there something specific? And even more importantly, how have these people gained so...
Starving Artist says that's what a sense of humor is for. I mean, that's true. It could be deep, right? What is a sense of humor for besides handling like terrible, sad situations? Because the funniest jokes out there are about tragedies, right? 9/11 jokes, Holocaust jokes, moon landing jokes. I don't know. I don't know about those, but I'm sure they have them. I'm sure they have some moon landing jokes, and I'm sure I'm going to get them in the chat. Jokes about the dinosaurs going extinct. What other tragedies are there? I think those are the main ones. Yeah, nothing else happened. Nothing else happened. I'm pretty sure nothing else happened.
So much power. Well, in this video, you'll soon understand that the reason for their distinct look is the reason for their power. And it's their power that is subtly changing the society we live in. Trust me when I say that this entire...
JD says you could do a dot to dot on this fella's face. You mean like a connect the dots like they have on like a kids menu where you connect the dots and then it creates a picture. What picture are you going to get with that? You're going to get some sort of weird constellation, like you're trying to solve like a conspiracy theory or something like that. It's just going to be a jumble. It's going to be a mess. He just has bad skin. You don't have to look too far into everything, JD. I'm just saying not everything is a conspiracy. Most things are a conspiracy. And people who don't believe in conspiracy theories in the year 2025 are stupid people. Or comfortable, insanely comfortable. A lot of boomers probably don't believe in conspiracy theories because they're rich and they have all the things they want and they need, and they see that the rest of their lives is going to be pretty easy. So why why shake up the beehive? Why even bother and be like, oh, there's a hierarchy of control that goes back to the 40s and stuff like that, and they're connected to the international baking cartel. And then you just go on like loops like that, and then JFK and shit, and then the moon landing, and then was the hippie thing actually a psyop? Yes, it was. Yes, it was. They don't want to ask themselves a bunch of questions like that because they could rattle the foundations for their entire lives. Of course they don't. Of course they don't believe in conspiracy theories because it's uncomfortable and they want to be comfortable like they've been their entire lives. Their entire lives, they've had nothing but comfort. Even during the poor times in their lives when they're like 17, 18 years old and like, yeah, I don't have a lot of money, but LSD is like $1 and I can collect 5 cans and buy a house. Oh, I'm poor though, so it's so hard. That sounds pretty comfortable to me. That sounds pretty comfortable. But whatever. You do you. Now you make $100K a year and live paycheck to paycheck. It's not, I'm not saying, look, I don't want to be here and be like, it's not fair because life in general is not fair, but it's not fair. That's not fair. It's not fair that we got just born into some sort of slavery, some indentured servitude. And if you were dumb enough to get a college loan when you were 18, because that's what you were told your entire life, you have to go to college or else you're going to be a nobody, a failure and stuff. If you were dumb enough to do that, you are locked in. You are cattle. There is no way you will ever be able to pay off the interest of that loan. And that's exactly how it's designed. You will not pay off the interest, and they don't give a shit about the money. It's about controlling you. It's not about money. If you're able to come up with $250,000 that it takes to pay off your loan, fine. They will set you free, but they know you won't. They know you won't because they know that they're setting up this entire system, especially if you took that for like feminist dance theory or, gender studies or philosophy or something like that. They have you in the bag. But even if you didn't, even if you went and became a doctor or a lawyer or something like that, you're not going to be able to make enough money to actually climb out of that hole. It was all on purpose. They got to the education system first. They told kids to get a loan so you can start your life. You can start your career. So they signed 18-year-olds up with 6-figure loans because they're responsible enough for that. You can't have a drink until you're 21, but you can sign your life away at 18. Nice. You don't even understand math all that well, right? Because they didn't teach you shit in school. All they taught you to be was a slave. They didn't teach you to rattle the system or anything like that. They taught you to obey, keep your head down. You ask too many questions and you're going to get punished. Trust me, I did. A lot. And I got my shit kicked in all the time because I was disruptive, or I didn't ask the right questions, or I didn't do the shit that they told me to do when I left. I'm going home. I'm not taking your work with me and doing it at my house. I don't want to be here. Okay? You force me to be here. If I don't come here, you will send a cop to my house and he will throw me in the back of his car and take me to jail. I am a prisoner. I am a slave. You cannot force me to take home work. All right? Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck public school teachers. Honestly. They're just on a power trip and they can't do anything else. And so that's but it's a good, safe job, right? No one's ever going to fire a teacher because you can't. You just can't. They have ironclad contracts and a very powerful union that has deep ties to the Democratic Party. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing that the Board of Education is no more. That's a very, very good thing. It's a very positive move for the country in general. Also, RFK got confirmed for the FDA. So that's good. I think that's a good thing. That's a real good thing.
Entire thing is a rabbit hole. The year is 2005. The internet was up for grabs, and where some saw freedom, Reddit founders Spez saw possibility, a new world order. So
Starving Otis says, I just did the connect the dots. It's a sailboat. Oh, well, thanks. You saved the work for the rest of us. I didn't. I would connect the dots, and it would be a swastika or something like that. And I'm like, did you guys not see that? How's everyone getting a sailboat? Every time I do a connect the dots, it ends up being a swastika.
Spez formed a site called Reddit.
Every time. I don't know how it happens.
The global population to
It's just,
consolidate
is it
control
me?
and influence
It can't be.
society's profits.
Can't
With
be
some
me.
basic web design, investment backing, and a few backroom deals, and just like that, Spez was in control. He was the first moderator.
Scott says, I forgot about flat earthers. What about flat earthers? Flat earthers are retarded. Okay. Oh, you mean like boomers? Like that's the conspiracy theory that they believe? Because I've met boomers who are flat earthers, and I'm like, that's like the dumbest conspiracy. That's the dumbest conspiracy. There's a lot of good conspiracies. The 9/11, the moon landing's a decent one, right? Although they could very possibly landed on the moon. I mean, that one I'm like, okay, they might have done that, but they might not have. I don't know. Undecided, but I wouldn't be surprised if they actually did it. The Federal Reserve conspiracy theory, the JFK conspiracy theory. There's so many conspiracy theories out there, and you're all like, flat Earth. Are you fucking retarded? You know how many people have tried to prove flat Earth and then did the opposite of that and proved themselves wrong, and they're like, let me check the math. No, dude, it's round. I promise you it's round. It's just round. It's big. People don't understand how big the Earth is. It's big, dude. They say it's a small world. It's fucking not. It's a big, big ass planet, dude. We're just really small. And comparatively to other planets and stuff, it is kind of small. But like, we are really small compared to the Earth. It's big. I don't know how people actually believe that. I've seen documentaries on the flat Earth, a number of them. And every single time I'm like, that guy is retarded or lying or just retardedly lying. That's retarded. Is that what you were getting at, Scott? I don't know. I don't know. But flat Earth is retarded. I'm sorry.
And in recent
If
years,
you believe in flat Earth, you're a retard. There you go.
he's become one of the most powerful moderators in history. A statement which will become very important later in this video. But once Spez had a team of moderators and admins to follow his orders, running the internet turned out to be surprisingly easy. Reddit was booming. Spez's network of mods and admins.
Ardenshire says, I get accused of being a flat earther, which I'm not, but I like that people ask questions. There's nothing wrong with people asking questions, all right? Right? If you were like, I wonder if the earth is flat, and then like looked into it, and then you were like, oh, no, it's not. That's fine. Fuck. I did that. I was like, let me look at this conspiracy theory, see if it has any legs. It did not. It had 0 legs. A lot of times, governments, the intelligentsia of the world, will muddy the waters of conspiracy theory groups with fake conspiracy theories, like Flat Earth, just to make those groups look way far out. Whenever I see a like a legacy media story or something like that on conspiracy theories, they don't bring up the good ones. They bring up the ones like Flat Earth, or I don't know, there's other ones that are really stupid. They bring up like those ones and be like, can you believe people actually think this? And then they might be like, oh, yeah, they also believe vaccines are bad. Okay, well, now you're being dishonest because there's pretty clear evidence that vaccines do cause some sort of damage in developing brains, okay? That's how they muddy the waters. So you might have fallen for it. You might have fallen for a psyop. You got to be real careful. You got to be real careful. There's a lot of good conspiracies out there. And every year, like 5 or 6 new conspiracies are like proven to be true. But you're still considered crazy to be a conspiracy theorist? How are they still peddling that? I don't know. People don't want there to be conspiracies. They want everything to be as it seems on its face because it's simple and they understand. I'm speaking more of like the older generations with, comfortable lives where they don't have to feel guilt about not fixing problems when they were in their infancy, because they should have. As a generation, they should have made the world a better place for their children. Instead, they absolutely destroyed it for their own financial gain. They don't want to have that guilt. And so, when I talk to boomers on like Twitter and stuff like that, they seem angry. They seem angry that they had all this success in life and stuff, and they see that all these young people are, and they try to remedy that in their brain. Well, these people are stupid and lazy. That's the only answer. That's cognitive dissonance. You're lying to yourself. And then I think a sort of guilt wells up in them because the evidence is mounting. And they get angry about that. They've never felt bad about a thing in their life. They've always been told they're geniuses and they work hard and they're the most industrious generation in the history of time. And when you attack that ethos, when you shake that foundation, they get afraid. That's why a lot of boomers all took the shot. They lined up to there's going to be something that kills us. Yeah, go ahead, jab that shit in me. A large amount of them got it. I mean, they were the first ones in line. Right? When I was a kid, I got vaccinated against my will, very clearly against my will. And now everyone's wondering why there's so many autistic people. Like, why is everyone so retarded? Well, it's your fault. It's your fault. They don't want anything to be their fault. They want to remain superior in their minds. And a lot of them have the ability to lie to themselves so effectively that there's no chance breaking it. When you have been brainwashing somebody for decades and decades and decades, they will hold on to that because they would rather believe a lie than believe they got lied to. That is devastating. Believing you got lied to and that you believed that lie for decades and decades, and it hurt your family members, and it hurt your children, and it hurt society as in general, that would be a devastating revelation. And so they fend it off with like, you're just lazy. You're just not applying yourself. Everyone is stupid or something like that. These are tools to help them convince themselves that they haven't been fooled their entire life. But they have been.
Could control internet culture. By influencing internet culture, their control would slowly permeate into our real culture. And with so much influence over the lives of millions, Spez had positioned himself perfectly. Because what better way to gain leverage on everyone than if everyone was connected to his site? Reddit mods were the key to running it all. Mods seem the most ready to stamp on the enlightenment.
What's the deal with the hats? What's the deal with a fedora? Why do people like this? Is that like a symptom of autism? Like when you're a certain level of retarded, like there's a certain amount of mercury that's been injected directly into your brain. Are you like, hey, that's a cool fedora? All right. Doesn't matter how many shots you've gotten, like how beaten down you've been by life. Like, do you sit in a chair and you're like, you know what would complete this chair? This Secret Lab gamer chair, which I actually recommend because it's pretty comfortable and I've had it for a while. A fedora would really pull that shit together. That's right. Hold on. Can somebody Photoshop? Can somebody Photoshop a fedora on me? Can somebody Photoshop a fedora on me? Hold on. Does that? Hold on. Is that good? Hold on. Is that going to be a good one? Like a classy fedora, maybe with like a playing card in it, and they call me Gambit. You know, I play cards, and I'll be that guy. I'm sure somebody's on that. I'm sure somebody's on that right now, and I'll get it within a few minutes because you guys are autistic.
Enlightenment principle
and apparently alcoholics
was of Western civilization. Nothing would get in the way of them gaining their missing sense of power in their lives. They were the most willing to give over their lives to Reddit. Without hesitation, a few lonely losers jumped on Reddit's moderation teams, offering all their time and energy, working day and night to do the work of Spez voluntarily.
Neats. These are called neats. When you have no reason to leave your house, and the only sort of light source you have in your life is just the pale blue glow of computer monitors. This is what you do, right? You might see the sun come up through the crack in your doorway or something like that, but you want no part of that. You just want this tasty forum. And then that's where you have your control. You could go outside, but then the sun would hit you in the eye like an angry arrow. And it'd be, God! And then your eyes would like that. And that's just uncomfortable. That's the first step of uncomfortable. It's comfortable in here, you know? I got my things. I got my water, and I have my keyboard and stuff. But you know what I do? I fucking leave. When I'm done with this show, I get out, right? I don't hang out on my computer all day. I do Daywave, and then I do this show, and then the rest of the day, I'm not on my computer. I got shit to do, right? I got fedora shopping to do. You know, somebody's got to look classy around here. It can't just be JD. It can't just be JD with his, 101 Dalmatians kind of henchman look he's got going. Love it, JD. I love it. The whole Peaky Blinders thing he's doing. The farmer from Babe. You know, that look. I can't pull that off, but I'll try my fedora. I'll try my fedora and, you know, a trench coat, a duster, possibly. There's got to be something that holds shotguns.
With Reddit management behind them, Reddit mods became the most powerful arbiters of global communication. Okay, but what does any of this have to do with these mods looking the same? Well, you see, Spez's team of moderators are a special breed of Spurg lords, and it's important we talk about why they do it in the first place. Before becoming a moderator, mods need to be addicted to Spez's pet project, wasting their lives scrolling on not-
Ardenshire says Sulk needs not just a fedora, but other creative hats. I'll just have a creative hat day, right? Every Friday is creative hat day. It's Thursday, so not today. But every Friday will be creative hat, a funky weird hat day, right? Like what you had at school, they had like pajama days or casual Fridays or something like that. So everyone had school spirit. I didn't have school spirit. I have no spirit. I want to be a spirit when I come to this school. You're not going to trick me but with a pep rally, all right? I hate each and every one of you. Okay? I don't want to be here. You force me to be here. And you want me to be peppy about it. No! I want to be drunk. And that's what I'm going to be. I'm going to come into school drunk. And if you catch me, well, then I'll be in detention drunk. Or I'll be arrested drunk. I don't care. I don't want to be here. Okay? Stop trying to make it fun. It's not fun for you. It's not fun for me. We have to be here. By the laws of the United States, we both have to be here. You get to make money. I don't get shit. They might be like, you get an education, and that's worth a lot. That's worth a lot. Okay, all right, tell me what it is. What is this education? Well, mitochondria is a powerhouse. Fuck off! Fuck you! Fuck you! You think I'm ever going to even need to know? Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! You spent your entire adult life learning how to tell me that mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Why does that even matter to me? Why would that ever matter to me? Fuck off. Go hit on your students like the rest of you do. Fuck off, all right? Leave me alone. I'm going to do my time and I'm going to leave. And I'm going to go fedora shopping. And I'm going to have the most fedoras. That's where I'm going to get my power from. The fedora. I'll put my fedora back on. Milady. Is it good? I have to do that. Is that the milady? Am I doing it right? I like this. I'm being silly tonight. I don't give a fuck. You guys better put the dopest fedora on me. I swear you better put a nice fedora on me. Otherwise, I'm not doing this show anymore. I'm just not. There's no reason, right? I'm doing it for the doors. The doors, that's what I call them. I say fedora so much I have to shorten it because it just saves so much time. Also, it makes me look cooler too. And you know I look cool in my fedoras.
For work and generic subreddits as a substitute for their absolute real connection. They most likely have beef.
Hey, born man.
Smell like us, and were almost always bullied at school. By being bullied, they internalized the need for control. Born
man gave $10, thank you, and says, "Unfortunately, I am an alcoholic, John. I'm not gonna sit here and judge you guys. All right, you know, I'm just a fedora wearing man that, you know, I have a passion in life, and it's fedoras, and you know, a childhood that's regretful."
It's also a survival mechanism generated from
Regretful.
their traumatic early years.
At
So
best.
every day they release their repressed aggression through several forms. Examples include arguing with people in comments, reporting people whose opinions they don't like, banning people for criticizing mods, banning people for the wrong political views, banning people
I love this the guy
for
he
information
has
they don't
here
like, forcing their
because he's shirtless and he's like clearly fat, but you can just see the singular hot dog roll on his neck, right? Which I kind of get, right? I kind of get because I'm very shouldery. Do I have, see if I do I have the hot dogs? Can you see him? Is it hot doggy? Is it hot dogging? I can't even see it. Is it hot dogging properly? Somebody tell me. I can't see. I can't see behind me. That's not a skill. I can't even reach my face a lot of the time. I can't. I'm very muscular.
Using to others and busting endless unsavory nuts. But their need for control.
Busting endless unsavory nuts. What do you think you're gonna do, man? Like, you sit on your computer all day long, and then you just get paler and paler, and like, you know, you don't go outside, and then you're just addicted to pornography, and then you just sit there and you jerk off in your fedora, by the way, because you want to look cool, and then you just get enormous. This guy looks like he's got an awful life. I can tell by the microwave. I don't know why, but that microwave is sus. Look at that microwave. It's not in a kitchen. That's just a microwave. This is in his bedroom. He has a microwave in his... He's got a microwave in his bedroom. That's saying something, dude. That's making a statement. If you, like, bring a bitch home, which none of these guys have ever done in their entire life, and you got a fucking microwave in your bedroom, that's like... You have a very specific lifestyle. It's all about the hot pockets. It's the hot pockets and the fedoras and the doors. The pockies and the doras. That's what it is.
Doesn't pertain to themselves, only others. In their
because I say it so much. Pockies and doras. That's what I got.
Lives they have.
Somebody make me a fucking t-shirt. Somebody make me a fucking t-shirt that says Pockies and doras for life. With a microwave in some guy's room, and he's like standing in front of it, and he's huge, and standing in front of a microwave in his bedroom.
Very little control.
Somebody do
themselves.
it.
Self-discipline is like an abstract concept to these people.
Pockies and doors for life.
And with such little control over themselves, a nasty online addiction, and resentment hanging heavy in their hearts, they are
bullshit. Dorm room. Bullshit. That's not a dorm room. No, this is a room in his mom's house. That's a room in his mom. A dorm room would be a different thing. But even in a dorm, they have kitchens in dorms. But it's not a dorm room. It's not a dorm room. It's very clearly his room. And that is his microwave, right? There's not other people living in this room. I can tell because it looks like it smells terrible. And yeah, there's probably some dorm rooms that do smell terrible. But there's a filth that accrues. There's a filth, not only in your surroundings where you like wipe your desk and you're like, ugh, but also in your mind. And you can tell, like this unfortunate specimen right here. Something snaps in you, man. You're not supposed to sit there and look at your screen all day long. You know, it messes with your mind. Even if you're not watching porn or scrolling on like Twitter or Reddit all day, it's not good for you. You're going to just watch this screen all day long. You can't do that. It's going to break you like this guy. This guy, I'm surprised he hasn't started shooting places up. You know,
kept in the sad child.
Where's your sweet Dora? Where's your Pocky? He doesn't have those things. So in this moment, his life is empty.
Lifestyle, and there are just so many reports of people who live with Reddit moderators to back this up. For example, in one video by Ghost Gum called Reddit Degenerates, he shows the post of
background noise says you should see his toilet sink. Okay, it's a piss jug, so calling it a sink is not really. It's a piss jug, and I have had piss jugs. It wasn't a jug; it was a bucket. It was a big square bucket, and I pissed in it, and it was just like, yeah, that's where I piss. And I was married at the time.
Describing the life of a single Reddit mod. In it, she describes her frustration with her husband not getting a job or even looking for
and
it.
And I was like, Jess, when that fills up, you have to take that out. Right? And sloshing. It's all pissy. What?
The piss bucket wasn't funny.
The piss bucket was hilarious.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
No.
Yes, it was. You're lying.
It was
You
really,
adored the piss bucket.
No, I was horrified when what I said.
It's a piss bucket, and it's separated. It's separated into different layers of piss.
Depending on what vitamins you took.
Well, you got to stay in shape.
It was such a dark color, I got concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I was concerned.
Mm-hmm. Well, you should empty my piss bucket more often.
I found it.
You didn't have to look very hard. I think you tripped over it. Got a little spray. Ah! I'm like, you love me though. I think you were pregnant.
And then you had to empty
I think she was pregnant.
I was. And then you had to empty it in front of the golfer.
I had to, yeah, like a Middle Ages kind of, who dump out their pot out the window. Good evening, my lord. No shame. I had none.
Job because he's got, quote, too much on his plate already. In fact, he has so much on his plate that he doesn't even cook or clean. He just moderates. And if it couldn't get any more pathetic, the top pinned comment was from
Ardenshire says, LOL, it smells like a cat box in here. I don't have a cat, but there might be a cat. That's the thing. There might be a cat in there.
a moderator called Power Moderator, who couldn't help but start spouting his bloated opinions to flatter his growing sense of self-importance, claiming, quote, I'm seeing many bigoted comments. Any hate towards mods will result in a permanent ban with no warning. This includes but is not limited.
Any hate towards mods will result in a permanent... Really? As you can see, I have limited the amount of mods I have to a very... a trusted circle of people, because the moderators were acting, Knob, I'm looking at you, like dickheads. So now it's only a few people, and yeah, thanks, you guys ruined it. I'm not surprised in the least bit, honestly. I'm just not. Just a bunch of alcoholics.
Calling moderation a fake job or saying that we do it for free. Moderation is one of the most useful jobs to society. Behave or get.
One of the most useful jobs to society. Why? No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's got 6,000 downvotes, right? It's got 6,000 downvotes, which is kind of funny because he could have easily just taken that away as a mod. I don't know why he didn't.
Banned. It's a funny post and it's perfect meme material, but behind this meme is something a lot more serious. Because when it comes to the more powerful power moderators, we are seeing these people molding our society in their image. They are controlling the trends we see in wider society, and all of them are working for the top moderator's Spez. But this will become much clearer later on.
Was Spez CIA or Mossad or something like that? That's an honest question. Was he CIA? I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he wouldn't be doing it just for the lulz or because he really believed in the Democratic Party or anything like that. No, he was probably getting paid quite handsomely. So probably part of intelligentsia or being paid handsomely by them.
Okay, so with everything we've discussed so far, it appears one...
My God. My God, sir. My God. How do you have such bad skin? How do these people have such bad skin? I don't understand. No sunlight? Is that what it is? Like the sun actually helps with your acne? I'm pretty sure it does. No exercise, showering seldomly, if at all. And if you do shower, you just go to your piss sink or whatever you happen to have. There's people who piss into like Mountain Dew bottles. And that would scare me because, like, how do you know which is the right bottle? Because they're drinking Mountain Dew, right? That's how they get the bottles. How do you know which is the drinking bottle and which is the pissing bottle? Because, oh, well, my drinking bottles are up here, but I keep my pissing bottles down here. And I try not to, like, put them up here afterwards. But you must. I'm sure there's people that have drank their own piss before. Doing that exact thing. This guy, probably.
One of the first reasons for mods' universal look comes from their lack of personal responsibility. These scruffy and often overweight cheese what's-it smelling mods all share the same lack of self-discipline. Reddit mods' revulsion to personal responsibility is so central to their personality that it is now in itself their political view. Because
yeah, it's true. See, here's the thing about like very deep leftists and like liberals and stuff like that. That comes from a place of inadequacy inside of themselves. They don't believe that they can change their circumstances themselves, and so they want to control the herd and be a part of the herd, because in the herd there's power, in the herd there's safety. They have no sense of individuality, so they want to be in control, but in the control of like a Borg kind of apparatus. That's why you see leftists often working for like Pepsi or Disney or Google or large multinational corporations that they used to consider evil, right? Back in the 90s, liberals and leftists considered large multinational corporations the man, and they were the bad guy. Now these are part of that. It's weird how there's been such a shift. They probably look the same though, but I don't know. I'm not sure.
Like their looks, their political views are always uniform. Almost all of them subscribe to the belief that they are owed everything by the world, that working should be abolished, and everyone should be given money just for existing.
Strawberry says, when I smoked, I drank out of a cigarette butt soda bottle by accident. It was dark and near my actual drink. That I can see being likely. And I'm sure that was not pleasant. And I'm sure you're like, ugh. But that's not piss. Right? Come back to me when you drink your own piss, Strawberry.
Like one of Reddit's top
with a video.
Dog moderators called, fittingly, Botch Work.
With a video, you're drinking your own piss.
The subreddit are anti-work. And in January 2022, she would unmask to the world the face of the Reddit mods running the internet.
Water.
Passionately defending her belief and having no self-discipline or personal responsibility.
I don't understand really what this is about, except it sounds like maybe people are just being lazy. Are you encouraging...
Oh, Fox News. Fox News, okay, it's Fox News, right? Their clientele, their main viewership is boomers, and this is legacy media that's dying out because nobody but the boomers watches this stuff, because everybody below the age of 60 understands that these people are propagandists, and they're pushing narratives, and they're just trying to convince and control through their media. So them interviewing the anti-work mod from Reddit makes perfect sense. What the Fox News wants to do is it wants to comfort the boomers from believing that they destroyed the planet, right? By saying, look, this is how normal kids are, right? This is why kids are so poor, and because they just don't want to work. They're just lazy and apathetic, and they have no intelligence and stuff like that. So you can feel safe in your lifetime of borrowing against the future and destroying the economy for your own personal gain, right? So that's why Fox News has these people on. Obviously, it's not a good representation of the generations as a whole, but this isn't Fox nor CNN are good representations of reality at all. It is all play. It's all drama. It's all made up. That's it. Nobody watches this anymore. And if you do, go ahead. You'll cringe out of your skin. Whenever I go to my parents, I see it. They have it on like Fox News or MSNBC or something like that. And they're like showing videos that I saw like 2 months ago on Twitter. And it's like, oh, that's so funny. She's a fat mermaid. I get it. It's like months old, right? But this is the only form of information that they have ever known. They grew up in a time when there was maybe a few channels, and they were all deeply controlled by the state. By what state I'm not going to say, but that's it. That's all they know. That's the only source of information. And they've never learned to ever question it, because to them, it's always been accurate. It's against the law to lie on the news, or so they think.
People to be lazy?
So I think laziness is a virtue in a society where people constantly want you to be productive 24/7.
In response to this classic Redditor statement, the Fox News host asked, what does she do for a living? To which she responds,
So I would like less work hours.
She? That's a dude, right? That's a dude.
What do
think
you
a lot
do,
of people
Doreen?
Doreen. Oh my god, dude. Of course, a Reddit mod from the anti-work subreddit is a tranny. I can't not say tranny. I know it's going to get me banned from YouTube, but it's in my DNA to say tranny, right? I grew up, I was born in late 87, almost 88. It was December. So we said tranny, right? And they were a thing, but you laughed at them and you threw like sandwiches at them and stuff. Which I still do. I keep that tradition alive. So if you ever see a tranny covered in sandwich meat, then Sulk's been here. Sulk is right. You know, whatever egg salad sandwich, you know, a Reuben, you know, I really like throwing like meatball subs at them because they're real hefty. It's the little things that get you through life, right? You got to take joy in the little things. And hitting a man in makeup with a sandwich after they spend all that work doing their makeup badly is it puts a smile on my face. Also, it's hilarious how bad trannies are at putting on their makeup. Putting on makeup, doing makeup. They are bad at it. They're bad at it. They're so bad. And I'm not even saying that that's their fault, really, because when girls do makeup, they've been doing makeup since they were like 10, right? And they're painting their face like mommy does, right? That's by the time they're 23, 24, they are masters at that. That's why they're so fucking good at makeup. It's because they've been practicing for at least a decade at that point. When a guy transitions to being a woman, when he's like 38 or something like that, or 50, he has no concept of how to do that. He watches YouTube channels, but he watches the ones with a girl, and he has a totally different face shape. Different women have to do different makeup techniques for their face, right? It's not one technique that fits all right? They're very nuanced. Maybe we should just make it illegal in general, but that's another conversation. But it's hilarious how bad they are at makeup. It's just whores makeup every single time. Lots of purple eyeshadow, purple and blue, and then really red up those cheeks. Red up, and then a deep ruby red. And then, hi, I'm Samantha. And looking like an absolute psychopath. Like an absolute psychopath. Okay, Samantha. You know, I can see your dick through that sundress. You know that, right? They do know that. That's how they get off. You know, it's all a sexual perversion. It's not, I'm actually a girl. No, you're a pervert. You get off. This is how you get your jollies. You dress as a woman, and then you run around with an erection until you decide to lop that thing off. Yeah. Yep. That's what it is. It's not anything real, unless you want to call perversions real, which perversions are real, but it's not something that we should accept or celebrate in any way. The same with homosexuality. I'm not proud of you for being gay. Why in the world would anybody? No, you're a pervert, bro. You're just a fucking pervert. Go away.
I'm a dog walker.
A dog walker.
It brings to mind the words of Jordan Peterson. If you can't clean up your own room, who the hell are you to give advice to the world? But unsurprisingly, the
Strawberry says because they are a ridiculously exaggerated version of a woman. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's absolutely true. That's why they always have those big fake boobs and stuff like that, and they just I'm Victoria. I'm Victoria. Go away, Victoria. You're scaring everybody, right? You're horrifying. You're an abomination.
would actually praise this interview and promote it to their fellow Redditors. And if their fellow Redditors responded with criticism, they would also be censored into silence. I mean, it got so bad the mods had to actually make the anti-work subreddit private to silence their critics. Okay, so we've established that almost all of these moderators share the same lack of personal responsibility and discipline. But what's behind their senseless emotional behavior and their apathy towards improving or hell, even taking care of themselves? Well, to understand this, we...
Okay. It's hopelessness. It's hopelessness. That is 100% hopelessness. They grew up in a society that essentially hated them, especially the men, right? Especially Doreen. It's hopelessness. And this is another thing where the trans agenda is coming through, because they're trying to be accepted by society so badly that they're going up against their own genetic programming, right? There's a saying, if a child isn't accepted by the village, or, how does it go? If a child doesn't feel the village's warmth, it will feel it as it burns the village down. So that's, these people aren't accepted. Boys in general aren't accepted by society. There's every systematic reason to hold these future adults down, right? And it starts in public education. This is why 90% of public educators are female, right? There's nothing guiding them. There's no hope. They don't have a future buying a house or running a business or even getting out of the rat race. There's no hope for them, right? And so they retreat into their bedrooms with their microwaves and their piss buckets and stuff like that. And then they just kind of rot because there's no reason to pull yourself together if it's absolutely hopeless. That is the message that has been pounded into these people for decades, since they were little children, decades and decades. And the only way that you'll be accepted by society is by chopping your dick off or not embracing your masculinity in any shape or form, because that could be a problem for the powers that be, right? You could, form a family. You could guide more people and then eventually overthrow the power structure, right? That's what they don't want. Women are not the same way. Women are coddled from a very young age and told they deserve it all. They deserve everything. And they shouldn't have to work for anything. And even if they're fat or stupid or anything like that, they deserve the most out of life. The top tier men, they don't have to work for anything, and they will still be handed everything in society. This is why, they get generous social programs. They usually do much better in public education, not because they're smarter, but specifically because they are women or girls at that stage. It's trying to upend the gender dimorphism, right? Because if you make women more powerful than men, then there's no reason for women to want to be with men at all, And this is another form of destroying the nuclear society and society in general, how we ran society for centuries and centuries. Women don't know what to do with power like that, and they end up alone, often broke, right, with tons of debt, because they assume women who are early 20s make vastly more money than a man in his early 20s, right? They're more marketable. Well, in the society today, which is largely service-based, that kind of makes sense. You have a waitress. She's going to make a lot more in tips than a waiter is. That's just... And then you have, clothing stores, maker clothing stores. But there's a plateau. There's an age when they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to find a man that will take care of me so I can have kids and stuff like that. Oh, but you took every opportunity away from men. And so now those men that you're looking for that are, solvent and stable, they're not there. They're at home in front of their computers. And a lot of women would be like, well, that's not a real man. And I would agree with you. Sure. He didn't take the time to like better himself or anything like that, or achieve anything. And so, yeah, why would you want him? But there's a societal aspect to that, right? It wasn't, if he was coddled even equally as the women were, he would have easily excelled. But no, throughout his life, he was constantly put down and stomped on. So he would become a neat. He would become nothing. He would become harmless, right? Just like women are inherently. So that's what you got. And women don't want to marry harmless men. They don't want to marry men that have no future. But in this society, a lot of young men assume, even before they become the age of 18, that they have no chance. And they're kind of right. I mean, they're right. But they're also wrong. If they were to appreciate their own masculinity, if they were able to like understand that this is propaganda and they are being lied to and they are actively trying to destroy you as a man from the time that you're a young boy, they might take action, right? They might, but they don't want you to think that, right? They want you to think it's hopeless. And they do everything they can to make it hopeless for you. Everything they possibly can. Their agenda is depopulation. And they are doing a bang-up job.
We need to jump back into the story of Reddit. So with Spez's team of mods and admins, Reddit was flourishing. Although with so much leverage over the world, other players wanted a piece of the pie. Because Reddit was a powerful tool, a tool that could influence elections, create billions in profits, generate cultural and social trends, and tap into the psyche of entire...
Knobsdog says, Bahama John, tits and ass are commodities. Yeah, that's true. But so are muscles and brains. So it's just these days we have machines and we also have like AI to replace muscles and brains. But tits and ass, you can't exactly replace that yet. You can pornography is a way of replacing that, but in a very watered down sense. But women have always been a commodity throughout all of history, and that's why when wars happen, the first thing that gets claimed is their prettiest women. That's just the truth of it, right? That's just the truth of it. So men have always tried to make life easier for women, and it's become detrimental. It's become detrimental. And a lot of the dating strategy today, from like a weaker man, right? A man that doesn't have the prospects, or, he's not, very tall or good looking or muscular or smart or anything like that. What he'll do is he'll simp. He'll try his hardest to simp for women and defend their rights. And, you're trying to tell a woman to do what to do with her body. You're a terrible man. And he just comes off as a faggot, dude. You just come off lame as shit. You might get some level of female attention from uggos, but that doesn't mean they're going to fuck you. They ain't going to fuck you. It's a nice try, though. It's really, at least you're trying something. But you'll notice when you get alone with some of these men, they are sexually aggressive. They are not exactly the gentlemen they they portray themselves to be in public. No, they're very rapey. Because that's their end goal. That's their end goal. They don't truly believe that women's rights are like blah, blah, blah. They play the part. They certainly do play the part. But they're cuttlefish. Well, that's trannies. Trannies are cuttlefish. If you don't understand what I mean by that, you have to understand the mating tactics of a cuttlefish. So cuttlefish, large alpha specimens of cuttlefish have harems that they defend like groups of female cuttlefish that they'll defend from weaker beta males. But cuttlefish, being cephalopods, are actually pretty intelligent. And they can change their skin texture and color through mechanisms called stomatophores in their skin to mimic a female cuttlefish. And when they do this, the alpha male cuttlefish will say, "Oh, you're a female. Come on into my harem." At which point, the male cuttlefish will then impregnate the rest of the female cuttlefish. That's why trans men try to get into female bathrooms. It's not because you would think they don't care. I mean, what's it matter where you pee? It really doesn't. No, it's getting around unprotected females. That's the final goal. It's a perversion. They're predators. So we call them cuttlefish. So there you go.
Populations. If Spez wanted to maximize his profits, he would have to leverage his power. To do so, he courted the world's wealthiest, most powerful people to consolidate control. Dignitaries, world leaders, oligarchs, businessmen. The potential profits of selling...
Knobstock says, "Why the fuck do you know about cuttlefish?" I was a dive instructor for like a while. And I kind of have to know about that.
Reddit's
I didn't have to, but yeah.
outweighed anyone's moral reservations, which was proven true in 2014 with the introduction of power mods. You see, adverts were yesterday's work. Why not bribe the mods controlling online discussions to influence public opinion for a profit? I mean, what better way to influence public opinion than to hijack where public opinion is formed? It would mean Spez would get paid, mods would get paid, and no one would know about it. But to do this, Spez needed a tiny...
Knobstock says, "I thought trainees," that's a funny autocorrect, "wanted to get into women's bathrooms just to make it feel like they're actually women." Well, that's what they want you to think. Of course, that's what they want you to think. I'm an actual lady, so I get to go in the women's restroom. Well, why don't you just go in the men's room? Like, women go into the men's room a lot. If the line's too long in the women's room, they'll just go into the men's room. So why is it so important? Oh, well, we'll just make you a specific, and then you can have that. No, I want to go into the ladies' room. I have to go into the ladies' room. I have to go in the ladies' room. Okay, well, now it's suspicious. You can pee wherever you want. You still have a penis. Doesn't matter where you pee. And even if you do pee in public, no one's going to say anything because you're a tranny and they don't want to be considered a bigot. Right? No, this is another mating strategy. It's a mating strategy, but it's also a raping strategy. So there you go. And it happens. It happens all the time. You always get stories about how a trans person raped a girl in the women's room all the time. Literally all the fucking time. And that's exactly why they want to get into the women's restroom. That's why they want to get into the women's locker room. Right? It's like the movie Porky's. Right? Where they drill the hole in the shower of the women's locker room. They're all looking, and this guy has the fucking balls to put on some makeup and a wig and just waltz right in and be like, "What? I'm a girl." Yeah, okay. All right, and now we have to apply. Oh, he's so brave. He's brave. Is that okay? Is that okay? No, it's not okay. Not in the least bit.
Controlled network of the top moderators, and in October 2014, the first major power mod was born, a mod known as Gallowboob. With over 36 million karma, Gallowboob gained vast control of the top
36 million karma? That's a lot, dude.
Subreddits like our art, our relationship advice, and our roast me. And like most power mods, he's been...
Couch Surfing says being a trans woman in a female bathroom is an exclusively male experience. That's true. Doesn't matter what parts you cut off of yourself. You're still an XY. You're still an XY. There's no science currently that can change that fact. And that's just it. You're still the dude, right? You have a man's brain. You have a man's build. You have a man's musculature, right? You have a man's hips. You're still a man. And tricking who already are just trying to get a grasp on the world. Like, oh, sometimes boys can become girls and girls can become boys. What the fuck are you doing? Why would you? That's not true. They're doing it because when you trick somebody young, they're going to carry that because people don't like being tricked, right? They don't like, if you trick somebody when they're young and then show them all the evidence in the world when they're 40 years old that they've been tricked, they will still hang on to being tricked because it's much harder to convince somebody that they've been tricked than to lie to them initially, right? If you can lie to them effectively, then that lie is going to stick around. People don't like feeling like fools. They don't. But a lot of people are. Like a lot of people are. Like a whole lot of people are.
Been caught several times secretly taking money from companies
people
to show their products on Reddit. Like when he used his control of our Hale Corporate to advertise for Netflix. When people in the
Knobs Dog says, talk slower, I'm taking notes. You can, Ardenshire takes notes. Share notes with Ardenshire.
Reddit began to call him out.
You think I'm fucking kidding you. I'm not kidding you.
Hold on. He would remove every single critical comment.
Hold on.
He was just one of the select few who control almost all of the subreddits. And anyone who raised awareness of this cabal of Reddit mods would get banned from every major...
I'm sorry, Ardenshire. I didn't ask your permission to show, but yeah. Ardenshire takes notes on this show. So, use his notes. You know? Share.
Subreddits. So in response, Reddit has formed a subreddit called Our Cabal.
I mean, it's not the worst idea. I do drop hot fire.
To spread awareness of this powerful, dangerous clique of mods. Unsurprisingly, this...
Oh, I take notes, and they are usually racy. I know. There's just a bunch of very small nippled, a lot of doodles in the margins. And I'm like, is this the notes you're taking? Okay, whatever. I'm not. If that's your process, I'm not gonna stomp all over your process. You do you. People learn differently.
Subreddit was then also banned. Absolute shock. Sadly, this pattern is now just a regular occurrence. Get banned for criticizing Reddit
Dude,
mods.
what is with the full-on unibrow, right? Like the full-on, what is the deal with that? That cannot be genetic. Like, because it's like, I know people have unibrows. I understand that, right? And mine's, but like, what's the deal with the people that have, and it's thick, it's an even thickness from end to end, right? Most people have like a thickness and then it kind of tapers, but no, it's like a visor that it's thick here, and then it's just completely even all the way through. That must be an effective an eyebrow system. Your eyebrows do something, right? They're meant to keep dust out of your eyes. So that must be insanely effective, right? If you're in some sort of sandstorm or something like that. But why do mods have incels have such pronounced unibrows? A lot of cultures think the unibrow is good looking. I'm glad we're not a part of that culture, but some cultures think that's good looking. But like, damn, dude, how do you get that shit? There's no way do you have to, how? There's no way. Genetics? It's confusing.
Communities and protest to moderate your abuse, then get banished from the site entirely and repeat.
Ardenshire says there's a lot of content. It's hard to pick the best or most offensive. There is a lot of content, and I mean, he's absolutely right. I wish I don't have time to go back and so I appreciate that he's doing it. Knobs Dog, take notes, dude. Take notes too. You really should. You honestly should.
But I'm really.
I mean, you're like the worst cult member. So, I mean, Scott's almost there too. But you're probably the worst one, so you really need to learn.
About Reddit censorship, as I've already discussed much of Reddit censorship in my Tragic Tale of Reddit video. Instead, I want to know where this behavior from power mods stems from. And after doing some more research, the answer really wasn't that surprising, because I believe this behavior is likely a result of their low testosterone. And no, I'm not joking. There is a strong correlation between
Oh, hold on, let's listen.
low testosterone and neuroticism, and
Interesting. Very interesting. There's a correlation between low testosterone and neuroticism. You don't fucking say. You know who's very neurotic? Women. Women are very neurotic. And the thing is, testosterone has taken a dive since the 80s. An absolute nosedive. It's cut in half since then. And most men today don't even realize how lacking in testosterone they are. And that's why you see a lot of beta soy boy, like cucks and stuff like that just have no testosterone, not a drop of it in their body. Because something in the environment, whether it be there by accident or intentionally, that is up for debate, is destroying the testicular glands in these young men. I think it's probably on purpose. I think that's something that's introduced to them in when they're young in education. Maybe it's fluoride, maybe it's microplastics, maybe it is soy. I don't know. I don't know, but I think it's on purpose. I'm positive it's on purpose. Yeah, and then these men grow up to be Reddit mods. And they know they're missing something. They know they don't feel right, but they've never even begun to understand that it could be a hormonal issue inside of their own bodies. Yeah, that's why you end up fat and then bald. And then like you're just lackluster and you just don't want to do anything. You sit on your computer and then bitch, and then you're all neurotic and you're depressed and stuff. And even if you go to the doctor's going to be like, well, you're within normal limits. No, you're not. The doctor's lying to you. They have normal limits that are way lower than they should be, right? They did that. They changed that on purpose. They changed those levels on purpose because they saw that men were getting very low rates of testosterone. A 20-year-old today might have the testosterone levels of a 90-year-old in 1980. Even lower than that. So telling me it's some sort of accident is just, if it were an accident, if it truly were an accident, there would be a nationwide initiative to restore the testosterone levels of young men across the country. And there's not. There's nothing like that. You know what else boosts testosterone? Nicotine. And they don't like that none. So light up.
Neurotic behavior leads to emotional outbursts. Outbursts like angry pinned comments, canceling thought criminals.
Knob says you're going skiing tomorrow? Where are you going? You're going on a ski trip? Where are you going? Are you in California? Are you going to like Tahoe or something? Because I grew up there. Well, near there, like an hour away. I used to go snowboarding after school. Where are you going?
Mass censorship. So if Maud's neurotic behavior is a sign of their low testosterone, then this says a lot about their look, because low testosterone symptoms often include hair loss, increased body fat, loss of muscle mass, mood changes, and low energy. And this
Born Man says letting women vote and they call the feelings enforcement with guns and white knight complex isn't helping either. The feelings enforcement? They call the feelings enforcement with guns? Yeah, women shouldn't vote. They shouldn't vote, right? And honestly, most men these days should also not vote. I think you should vote if you are... I'm going to have to get back to you, because I don't believe in voting in general. I think voting is mob rule, and I think it's a terrible idea. Remember, 90% of people out there, at minimum, are fucking idiots. They're retarded. And I'm not saying I'm not one of them. Right? I'm not saying I'm not a retard. I'm just saying most people are stupid people and they will vote simply in self-interest. This is why the boomer generation enriched themselves so effectively, because from the moment they were born, they were the largest voting bloc in the country. And still to this day, they are the largest voting bloc in the country because they're just the highest population. And throughout their lifetime, they voted for policies that would benefit them in their phase of life, right? Now they're voting to like not build houses because they own all the houses. They're voting, you can't be ageist against somebody, but they have to be over 40 years old. Otherwise, the law doesn't apply. They've always voted for rules and laws that specifically benefited only them. And now they're at a stage where they're basically retired, and they don't want to feel bad for that. And most of them don't. They're fucking dicks, honestly. They're fucking dicks, and they're not going to be missed. I mean, when the boomer generation dies out, it will... If it dies out, that's you ever think about that? Like, maybe with all the advancement in AI, because we could have like a super intelligence by the end of the decade. That's a very real possibility. Have you guys looked or been following anything like that? Like a super intelligent AI? And what that entails is maybe it could, run simulations that fold proteins in such a way where people don't age anymore, where people live indefinitely. So we would just live indefinitely under the rule of this class of people that happen to be born in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and there's nothing we can ever do about it because they will live indefinitely just like us. And they will always control everything because they're only going to get wealthier. There's not going to be a transfer of wealth. There's not going to be anything like that. It will be a feudal class, which will be us, the millennials, the Gen Xers, maybe not all the Gen Xers, but most of the Gen Xers, and Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Gen Beta. And then there's going to be the boomers who will just lord over all of us. Hopefully that's not the case, but it's not looking promising. But hey, they all took that shot, and I'm pretty sure I know what that shot is for.
Their energy is likely behind mods' lack of self-responsibility and self-discipline. It could also be the reason they sit behind a computer all day moderating subreddits, because they don't have the energy to do
Sweet
anything
Fedora,
else.
bro. Honestly, killing it in the Fedora game. I'm ashamed at my Fedora-less head. So please, teach me your Fedora ways. Your Dora and Pocky ways.
I mean, you don't really see any gym bros becoming Reddit mods. So with this mixture of...
I am not a Reddit mod. Here's the thing about Reddit mods too. If you start a subreddit and it becomes popular, they will force you out as a mod. They will take over your subreddit. They have that power. So it's not like they buy you out or anything like that. They kick you out as a mod. And then they install themselves. That's why every subreddit on the platform is controlled by like 6 people. Because those are the mods. They are the panel, the board. And they're obviously all deeply leftist. Or maybe not. Maybe they don't believe in that. But that's what they get paid to push. Right? Because you can get paid to push ideals that you don't personally hold. You can. It doesn't make you a good person, but I don't think they're good people.
No self-discipline and no testosterone, you get these chinless, overweight, smelly, balding, poorly dressed, scruffy moderators. But there is one part that's missing in all of this. Their condescending, passive-aggressive, over-the-top, moral high ground attitude, despite having no morals at all appearance. A look that makes Reddit mods stand out from the rest. It's just so distinct. But where does this...
It is, dude. What's up? What's up with that? Like, you don't have a good-looking cat in the whole crew? Like, there's not one that's, like, a little bit muscular that, like, sways the ladies even in the least bit? No, it's just a bunch of fat turds. Just a bunch of mall ninja fedora-wearing, trench coat having fat-ass nerds. What? That cannot be... it's obviously not a coincidence, but rhetorically, it is not a coincidence, right? That can't be a coincidence. What do you say about that? What do you say about that, dude? Like, why do you all look the same? Why do you all look so fucking lame? Because that's what it is lameness. It's you being completely unmotivated, having no goals in your life, having no hope in your life. And so the only scrap of power, and it's not a lot of power, honestly. They may say it's a lot of power. Oh, I control, half of Reddit, which is honestly a $1 billion website, but it's not like you're making that money. A scrap of power, and you're going to hold on to that dearly and then abuse the shit out of it. I guarantee you a lot of these mods probably hit on, or let's say groom, younger members. I would say that's within their power, and I'm sure they abuse that power pretty regularly. But beyond that, you don't have much power. Like, that's it. And so it's the only thing they have. It's the only thing they have. It's the only thing they have. And they're not going to let that go.
Virtue signaling and pretentious attitude come from? Well, this is where everything ties together. Reddit's ironic veneration of tyrannical behavior was always part of Spez's plan.
Arden Shire says Bear Mountain in Cali is nice too. Bear Mountain is down south, isn't it? Bear Mountain is like near LA, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, that's nowhere near Tahoe.
In fact, there is no Reddit without Reddit mods. They do the dirty work for Spez. They keep users within the party line and are...
Is this dude really a Reddit mod, or is he just using B-roll? Because, like, that's wild, dude. He looks like he just pounds off all day long. That's what you do. And there's just a deadening of the eyes, right? I can't even do it right. I can't even do it. I can't do it right. But he looks soulless. He looks like he has nothing inside of him. He's empty. Just drained. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of it. Empty.
Are rewarded with power and bribes for doing so. They have full support from Reddit leadership, and in particular from Spez, because Spez is the first and most powerful moderator of all. And of course, he has a history of moderator
Couch Surfing says, hit the like, and that's an order. She is a mod.
Use. Flexing his power.
She is a mod. And not everybody has that power, because that's a bad idea. Making everybody a mod is a bad idea, because Knobs Dog is extremely unreliable.
He doesn't personally like. Infamously, Spez went into Reddit's literal database to alter and change comments he didn't like to distort posts in the R. Donald subreddit.
R. Donald was actually one of the good subreddits. There was a couple good subreddits, but they destroyed that, dude. It was like the only one. 90% of the memes, 90% of the memes on Reddit came from R. the Donald. I mean, obviously, leftists really struggle at memeing. You can see it, right? You can see it on Twitter. Like a leftist meme that gets popular, they are dog shit. There's no wittiness behind them. There's no sort of like, they're just, it's like, okay. Like some guy walks up and then is like, did you know text wall? And it's like 3 pages long. That's not a meme, dude. You can't have 300-word essay and consider that a meme. Just because you put a little cartoon under it, which is extremely inaccurate, by the way, that does not make it a meme. The left has an extremely difficult time making memes and making points in very short kind of conceptual ways. Because they're wrong. Because they are wrong. And I'm saying that as honestly as I possibly can. They cannot meme simply because they are wrong. Their memes are not funny because they do not come from a place of truth. That's what makes memes funny. That's what makes jokes funny. This is why really leftist liberal comedians are not funny. They're not funny. When you have like some dyke ass comedian walk up on stage and then tell her opinions and be like, "Oh, I'm very funny." You're not funny. You're not funny in the least bit. You are actually extremely cringy and it's painful to watch you, but you still gonna get a Netflix special. You know why? Because these large corporations are pushing an agenda. They're pushing an agenda. They want you to be dead. And you'd be like, why do large corporations want people dead? Well, they're already rich enough. They don't want more money. When you get a certain amount of money, you don't want more money. You don't. You want more power, right? You want more land. You want the planet. The only way to do that is to make sure people are dead. And fuck this guy. Fuck Tim Pool. Fuck Tim Pool. His show isn't even good. And it really, I used to listen to Tim Pool on occasion, and it was like, all right, now he's such a sellout. I mean, he sold his show to like Israel or something. He's such a sellout that it's painful. It's painful. And he still wears that stupid beanie like he's a skater from the 90s. I mean, he is a skater from the 90s. That is true. I guess he's okay at skating. I'm not sure. But it's so painfully obvious that he's a sellout that, I mean, his numbers are tanking. His numbers are tanking, and he wanted to keep his skate park. He has a skate park at his house, and he just wanted to keep it. So he sold his show to the Daily Wire or something like that. Nobody watches Tim Pool anymore. I mean, even before, it wasn't great, but now it's just awful. Now it's just awful.
Really saw, this is the craziest thing, the CEO of Reddit manipulated in the database someone's comment who was a Trump supporter. This is like, could you imagine? The CEO did this.
When those in our Donald called out as distortion of information.
Yeah, that's perfectly believable. That's absolutely 100% believable. Reddit isn't, it's a tool. It's a propaganda tool. It's not designed to make money necessarily. It's designed to push an agenda. It's designed to push an idea, right? That's why it uses these people, these sad, lonely sacks of shit, to push their agenda. It gives them a little bit of a taste of power that they would never have in their lives otherwise. And, and then they use it. Yeah, it's taking advantage of these people very clearly.
Spez used his position as CEO of Reddit to modify comments attacking him to instead criticize our Donald moderators. And no one could do anything about it. Spez was the creator of this billion-dollar machine. He chooses what the masses see and hear, and encourages all the other big tech giants to do the same. Facebook, Google, TikTok have all adopted the same censorship model generated by Spez. And so unsurprisingly, when it comes to these power mods, they have endless authoritative support. By doing Spez's dirty work, they are doing the dirty work for all the multinationals, big finance, politicians, and media. Mods are paid off by these third-party interest groups to artificially inflate posts promoting these multinationals and corrupt politicians, using Reddit's huge influence to manipulate the masses.
He's got a red arrow on his hat, on his Dora. That's too cool.
The Our Politics moderators would artificially inflate posts favorable to Hillary Clinton and almost always censor and banish those criticizing her. And there's just so many endless examples of this. But all this shady backroom work keeps the Reddit status quo in check, and as a result, gives Reddit mods full support from the media, multinationals, and political establishment. It's why Spez and the Reddit team is almost never questioned in Congress.
Is Spez a human? Is this a human? Is he a human? I honestly have my doubts. Right. There's another conspiracy that people can look into. The lizard people. If you ever watch the Y-Files, it's a great show. The Y-Files. Go watch the Y-Files. If you have not watched the Y-Files, what are you doing? That's a great show. I love the Y-Files. Go watch it. But lizard people is another conspiracy, and it could be connected to something else called the Cyrillian hypothesis. Which is the idea that there was a race of super advanced dinosaurs that built civilization hundreds of millions of years ago. And they might have not gone extinct. And so there is a sub-level of reptilians that secretly control the world and use the world as somewhat of a factory, but also somewhat as a farm. They get labor out of us, but they also get like meat and stuff. So it makes sense. Is it true? I don't know. That's not exactly one I perfectly subscribe to. That's pretty far out there. But they also say that the moon could be a hollow spaceship. And the moon is a weird thing. The moon is a very strange thing because it's not supposed to be there. We've never seen anything like that in any other system ever anywhere. It seems a lot lighter than it should be. It seems hollow. They hit it with a spacecraft and it rang like a bell for like hours. For some reason, the regolith, which is the moon dust, at the surface of the moon is much older than the regolith down in it. Like they tunneled down a little bit, and like this is newer material, and the older material is on the outside, which is strange. And you could say, well, maybe that's from asteroid impacts, right? Well, here's another thing. No matter the size of the asteroid impact, you see craters all over the moon, different sized craters, right? They are all of equal depth. How the fuck does that happen? How are they all equally the same depth? Some are small, some are very large, but they're all the same depth. How does that happen? Because the bigger ones you would think are deeper. No. The moon is a very strange object. Why it's there, we have no idea. How was it captured? Just in our orbit? Well, that doesn't exactly make sense because, it's like orbiting wrong or something like that. It's strange. Look into it. The Y-Files has a great episode on exactly why the moon is so weird, and it's very, very strange that the moon exists.
It's why corporate woke culture is so prevalent on Reddit. In fact, the whole origins of woke culture originates from Reddit around 2014, exactly the same time power mods became so powerful on the site. It's an uncanny coincidence. And ever since
we might do an
so
episode. I
powerful-
think I've done an episode on the moon before, but if you dive into that, it is very strange why the moon exists. And why is it here? And there's actually stories of tribes and like ancient lore about how the moon wasn't always there. How the moon was not always there. There was a time before the moon. And these are legends and, stories of old and stuff like that. But that's strange. Why would several different cultures all around the planet all have a legend of a time before the moon? They also have a time or a legend of a great flood, right? Which all happens to happen around the God, what is it called? Some era that was like 10 or 13,000 years ago, where there was a great flood, and there's tons of societies around that have that same flood myth. They all just made up a flood myth that happened to happen at like the same weird time. There's a lot of coincidences going on. Maybe it did happen. Maybe the moon is some sort of alien spaceship. If you think that's weird, we're living in 2025, dude, and like we've seen way weirder shit. We've seen way weirder. If lizards controlled the government and the moon was a spaceship, I'd be like, yeah, that tracks. That tracks. It would not surprise me in the least bit. It wouldn't, dude. We've had aliens showing up at the malls in Miami, and everyone's coming out and saying that aliens are real and pandemics. Really? That would break you? That would break you? That would surprise you the most? Not me. I'd be like, okay. All right. Yeah. What's next then? What's next? What is next? Please tell me what's next. Because as a millennial, you can't surprise me anymore. Right? There's too much shit that's happened in my life where I'm like, that's weird. I'm jaded. That's what I'm saying. I'm jaded. I'm just sick of stuff happening, like once in a species events happening. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of that happening. So whenever something new comes out, we're all like, oh yeah, we're actually all aliens and we have teleportation and the moon's fake and stuff like that. I'd be like, yeah, okay, whatever, dude. It doesn't change my life. I still got to do the things that I got to do. So whatever. I don't give a shit. I don't. No one does. People come out and say, oh, aliens are coming out of the ocean. And everyone's like, who the fuck cares? Who fucking cares? You know, you still have to go to work in the morning. You know, you got to pay your rent and stuff. I don't give two shits if there's aliens out in the Atlantic Ocean coming and abducting people once in a while. If they're really not bothering us beyond that, whatever. You know what I have a bigger problem with is the government. All right, that is very real. That is a very real thing that I have to deal with. I don't have to deal with aliens. Yeah, they might be out there and they might fly over my house and I'll be like, oh, that's aliens. Whatever. That's not the problem I have right now. You know, that's not the issues that we're dealing with. Could be 100%. An alien could land on my front lawn, right, and walk out and ask me for like a cup of sugar and stuff like that. And I would go get a fucking cup of sugar and I would hand it to him. And I'd be like, you know, you can text me next time you just show up, right? You know, it wouldn't be an issue. It wouldn't be an issue. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, this changes everything. Because it would change nothing. It would change nothing. It would change absolutely nothing.
We've seen free speech crumble into dust. We've seen the corporatization of the internet. We've seen dangerous social and cultural trends emerge that is now affecting each of our lives. While at the same time...
Couch Surfing says, I just want to know the infighting lore with lizard people. There probably is. And there's stories. People, I mean, you always have those interviews of people like, yes, I talked to aliens and one fucked me. And they're all like, okay, that's cool. And there's a bunch of people have stories about like, yeah, there's multiple races of aliens and some are good and some are bad. And the bad ones control the earth and the good ones try to be like, yo, you know, there's bad aliens controlling earth. And there's a lot of stories out there, but that's all they are is stories. Even when a government, you know, like the head of the NSA or naval intelligence goes in front of Congress and he's like, dude, there's fucking aliens here and shit like that. That's just a story. Show us a body or something. You know, we asked like, can we see these aliens? Oh no, that's classified. Well then get the fuck out of here. Go away. All right. Go away. Go away. But even if he did, even if he dropped a corpse right there in the town hall or the committee and stuff like that, they'd be like, all right, yeah, that tracks. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's how it would be. And then we'd all together as a society forget about it. We would just all forget because no one would give a shit. There'd be a lot of people out there be like, ooh, told ya. And we'd be like, yeah, you did. Okay. Now what? We're not all ascending to heaven. It's not like the end of the world. It just turns out that we've been slaves to a race for decades now at minimum. And guess what? That's not news. That's not news. You being a slave is not news. It's not. Us all being, maybe the boomers weren't slaves. Maybe that was the last generation where they traded economic freedom and like happiness to enslave their children. And that in very real terms is exactly what happened. Well, we're all slaves now. Okay. So who gives a fuck who the slave master is? Who gives a hot fuck who it is, right? Could be reptilians, could be aliens, could be Jews, could be fucking anybody, right? I don't care. I don't care. I'm sick of being a slave, but what do? Run? Run where? Put out into the woods and build a cabin? They're going to come for you. They will. Yeah, there's nothing you can do. I mean, or is there?
We have to cater to the sensibilities of petulant, hedonistic, control-freak man-babies who all conform to the same undisciplined, unhealthy...
Knobs Doug says, my biggest issue is Costco having no eggs this week. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck if Costco has no eggs? Shut the fuck up about eggs. I don't give two shits about fucking eggs. All right? These are distractions. This is not having eggs is a distraction, right? Talking about not having eggs is a fucking distraction. Who gives a shit about the eggs, man? All right. There is much bigger problems than not being able to make an omelet in the morning. That's a problem. I'm not going to argue with you on that. It is a problem. But there is so much bigger. There's so much bigger problems right now, right? Like, I mean, you having eggs is not an issue. People not being able to afford homes. People not being able to afford food in general. People being buried under debt for their foreseeable future for the rest of their lives. That is a much bigger problem than your fucking egg burrito. Okay? Shut the fuck up about eggs.
Healthy, low testosterone lifestyle that generates their distinctive look. And now Reddit, the establishment, big tech,
Me, asshole, I
media.
have to eat. Eat something else. Eat something else. I'm just saying. The eggs thing, the entire eggs thing, we knew that was coming. And it's not, just shut up about it. It's not a big deal. All right? There's going to be eggs again. All right? Wait for a couple weeks, maybe a couple months. Eggs are coming back. I promise you. It's just a distraction. But look at what they're distracting you from. That's the important part. When they come out and say, there's aliens here. Watch, look around. There's aliens. Be like, okay, that could be true. But what else is going on right now that you may not want me to see? And then look around, look for different headlines and stuff like that. See what's actually going on. Because I bet you're going to find something that you're going to be like, whoa, this is actually a much bigger issue. It's a much bigger issue than aliens or eggs or something like that. It's always a distraction. Whenever they put like a celebrity shaving her fucking head or something like that on the news, look around. They're distracting you from something. What? I don't know off the bat, but there's something. I'm not an investigative journalist, and I have no intention of being one. That's not my deal. All right. But there are good ones out there. Follow him. Ian Carroll has done pretty decent work in my opinion, but honestly, I don't know who to trust anymore.
Give these people the power to silence, censor, and dehumanize all opposition with absolutely no consequence. We are witnessing the revenge of the losers, and it serves to make our culture ever more homogenized, disjointed, hedonistic, corrupt, and corporatized. These Reddit mods are a byproduct of our increasingly narcissistic, overprivileged society, and the worst.
Overprivileged? Is it overprivileged when people can't even get eggs? Is it overprivileged? Are we really overprivileged? And this makes me mad. We have all this technology. Like, we have all this technology, and I'd still rather be like a peasant in like the 1600s. Isn't that bad? That's bad. Right? Yeah, it was hard back then, but it seems harder now with a bunch of technology, with all these miracles and like technological advancements that are happening day after day after day. And we're still like, oh, I can't make rent. How can you not make rent? How can you not? They like robots that build houses. Everybody had a house before. Why does nobody have houses now? Why is it so difficult to make a living? Shouldn't it be where we're so advanced that we only have to maybe work an hour a day at most? Shouldn't we be at that? Cavemen only had to work 2 hours a day to survive. Yeah, you were a caveman, but it was pretty fun. You go hunting in the morning, and then you come back, and then you drink alcohol because they had that technology, and then you bang, and then you'd all have a party. It'd be a lot of fun, right? You may live 30 years, but that's okay. That's a fun 30 years. Why is it so hard now? With so much technology, why is it so hard? It shouldn't be this hard. It shouldn't be this hard. People back in the 50s were all like, what are we going to do in the future with all this extra time? Because with all this automation, we won't have to have jobs, right? Everyone might have to work, once a month, and then everyone will be okay. What are we going to do with all our spare time? I'll tell you what, work. We're working all the fucking time. Some people have 5, 6 jobs, still can't make rent. Is that what you wanted? There's a million houses out there that are unoccupied, but they are owned and they will not let you live in them. There's plenty of food to go around. There's plenty of fucking eggs to go around. You just ain't getting them. You know? That's our real problem. The problem isn't our technology. The problem is that we're controlled. We're slaves. We're slaves to an economic system that we did not participate in. Right? We didn't choose to do this, right? We had nothing. No, it's not necessarily our fault. It's not. But it is our job to fix it, right? That's just how the circulation of history goes. Hopefully, in the next 10 or 20 years, if we're not all eradicated by some drone swarm or something like that, life will actually be good. Life will actually be some sort of super paradise. But who knows?
Part of it is that with their support from the establishment, these mods
Anyways, who knows? Who knows, you guys? I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's episode. Hit the like button if you don't mind. Yeah, we covered some topics. I thought we made some points, and yeah, like I said, hit the like button. I hope you learned something, and I hope you had a good time. Join me tomorrow night on the Sulk stream, and we'll dive into something else weird. I'll figure it out, you know. Until then, I hope you guys have a great evening, and get out there and make me proud, and do all those things that that you should be doing, right? For the cult. Get out there and spread the word. Make the best of yourselves. That's what you should do. You should absolutely make the best of yourselves. That's what I want for my cult. I want you to make the best of yourselves, and even though you come and watch something called the Sulk stream, don't be so depressed, right? Be thankful for what you have. Anyways, guys, I hope you have a great night. I hope you have a great tomorrow. You know, if you aren't following me, please follow, follow. Until then, get a good night's sleep. Drink lots of water. And take care of yourselves, because I care about you too. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Love you. Good night.
I'm an incredible soul, unhinged and enraged like a bulldog's fierce growl. I'm spitting fire, burning through these trees, questioning the world, unraveling conspiracies. Talking about Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster too. Government lies, they're feeding me their goo. I'm diving deep into this rabbit hole, uncovering the truth, setting fire to their control. I got small nipples, but my voice is loud, going like thunder in this crazy crowd. They say I'm crazy, but I call it woke, unraveling the madness with every word I spoke.